Pete Norman. I go by the artist name Pedro. Originally, I'm from Newfoundland, Labrador, and I moved here when I was about 12, back around the, let's say, the early 90s. And I've always been drawn to art since I was a kid, but never really got much into this scene until recently, the last 10 years or so. I consider myself a street artist, and what I do is often regarded as not in the best legal light. I started realizing what I was doing I didn't really feel like was much of a crime, and most people I talked to about it, very enthusiastic about what I was delivering. I find it just connects us to the world in the larger picture, because there's an awful lot of this worldwide. It's nothing new. It's been going on for, like we were talking about, thousands of years. People trying to express themselves in this fashion. And yeah, I'm trying to get better at it every time I do it. One of my more favorite pieces down here, downtown, it gathers an awful lot of attention because who doesn't like elephants? I like to call it Serengeti Sunset. The recognition has only just started coming recently in the last 3 or 4 years, where people just love what I'm doing and want to see me doing more of it, so are asking me now to do things like this for them. We're coming up upon our most prominent bridge in town. It's right next to the wheel, and this bridge is my newest piece of graffiti street art that the town and the province of Nova Scotia give me the entire freedom to have fun with. The concept I had when they approached me and asked me if I want to do a piece was sort of a description and illustration of evolution. So yeah, this mural is basically titled, "Thank you for all the evolution." The cheetahs now are coming on about nearly 10 years old. I'd say they're about 8 years old, and look, they're still looking great. It just looks a lot better than just some gray old concrete, in my opinion. A lot of people do a lot of different things with graffiti. For some, it is messages that could be politically driven or motivational. For the most part, I think a lot of people just want to throw up some cool looking photos or some pictures of images that you wouldn't normally see in the industrial landscape, let's say, because there's so much concrete and metal all around us. It is nice to make the world a little bit more colorful. There are massive street art festivals. Some parts of the world, there are entire towns bigger than ours that are just dedicated to these murals, this sort of street art. I mean, broken down warehouses never look better. And for me, the big debate is what part of the world is yours that's ours, that we can share instead of private property everywhere. There are certain places that are public spaces that should be enjoyed by everyone. It's a shame that it is still illegal, and I got to sometimes be careful of where I'm doing this, but I've tried to make it a little bit more acceptable by playing by the rules and not breaking the criminal code while I'm at it, which is why I find it better just to stay with some nice neutral pictures of animals. Anyway, instead of getting all confrontational. Here we are at the Antigonish Food Bank, which is another one of my most favorite murals, and the very first mural that I was ever asked to do by a person who paid me for my services. So the reason I wanted to do this is because the community food bank, I think, is one of the best charities in town. It's a pretty important, essential service, and I think that the mural I did for them, I think the whole idea was to give back or give thanks to them for what they do for our town, which is very important. So this whole concept is all about paying attention to where your food comes from. That's how there's a farm scene in the background, and the Horn of Plenty is what this thing's called, cornucopia of food. And it's just to make people think when they come here, to realize how important it is to have access to food every day. A lot of people don't. So not a lot of people know where the food bank is. That's why they asked me to do it. Like a lot of things, it just draws attention to that area. People love what I do. They come up to me all the time while I was doing it in person and would just talk about it and very interested in how I got to that point. It was a very strange feeling to turn around and see these people clapping over something that used to get me in trouble back in the day. The only words of advice I have for anyone that's interested in this street art game is if you are taking the chance to go out, make sure that you do it safe, make sure you're doing it legally, and make sure of all things that you do it with some style. There you go.